Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video is my monthly haul. So this is everything that I picked up throughout the month of October, and there's a lot in here. I don't really know what happened. I know I went on vacation to the US, so that encouraged me to spend more money, but there's still a lot of things here that I picked up in Canada. It's funny how going on vacation though, it feels like free money because it's not your own currency. It's like, whatever, I'm on vacation. So I definitely spent a lot of money at Ulta and I think at CVS. Anyway, let's dive into what I picked up. I'm going to start off with the things that are the most seasonal, and they're from Lush because Lush launched their Halloween collection actually a lot later than I thought they were going to. I thought it would have been in September, and I don't think I got anything until like the first week of October. So these have been smelling up my studio for quite a while because I haven't like moved them out of the little packages that they come in. And Lush stuff, I mean, I like individual Lush items, but the smell of them all together is so overpowering. I actually don't like going into the store because it's too much scent and you can smell it like a mile away. But individually, they make good products. Just, man, that smell altogether is way too much. So the first thing I got is their soap, and I just realized I have no idea the name of this guy. The soap for their Halloween collection is shaped like a little ghost, which is freaking adorable. And it smells citrusy. I really like their citrus scented products, so I was glad that this was very citrusy because some of their stuff can smell like jasmine or lavender, or there's another one they use very frequently that I just do not like. But this one is very citrus smelling and it's freaking cute. I actually use a lot of bar soap in the shower. If I'm not using a shower gel, I'll use a bar soap. So sometimes in my empties, if you don't see me using up shower gel, it's usually because I'm running through bar soap, and then when you're done, there's nothing to show for it. So I do use their soaps, and I haven't used it yet because I wanted to show it in the haul video, but I can't wait to put this in my shower. So the other item that I got from their Halloween collection is pretty typical for me because I'm obsessed with black cats. I have 2 of them. It's their Bewitched bubble bar. It's so freaking adorable. Now they've had this for 2 years now. I think this is the 2nd year, and it smells a lot like the Dorothy bubble bar that they used to have. That was limited edition, then they made it permanent, and then they discontinued it, which broke my heart because I love that smell to pieces. I smell a lot more lilac in this than what they say is in it. They say it's like a berry-licious scent. I don't smell berries at all. I smell like lilac and whatever made up the Dorothy bubble bar. So I always pick this up now whenever I see it. I want to buy multiple of them, but they really don't last like for longer than a year. And I don't have bubble bath often enough for me to buy like 10 of them because I would, because they're so cute. But I've had actually bubble bars go bad on me if I keep them for far too long. Not that they smell off, it's just that the bubbles are not as big when you put them in the tub after you've had the bubble bar for like a year. Because for us, we have a jacuzzi tub, and what I didn't realize with a jacuzzi tub is that you need very, very little of these bubble bars when you put it in because the jets increase the foam, and I have made the mistake of putting like half of one of these suckers in, and then we're scooping bubbles off of the bathroom floor for hours afterwards. So anyway, I really like Bewitched, and I'm happy to have it again. 2 more skincare items, and then we'll move on to the makeup portion of this video. So Boscia showed up at Winners. My friend Jen posted this on her Instagram stories that they were selling the Boscia Black Thermal Cleanser for 20 bucks, yeah, $19.99. And I was like, what the heck is going on? As it turns out, they're repackaging the Black Thermal Cleanser. They're not changing the formula as far as I'm aware, but of course they'll put like the old packaging at discount stores. So I looked at the expiry date. It's not expiring anytime soon. And these are 20 bucks each, and they normally go for 40. So I snapped 2 of them up. I have said before that I have been really, really close to purchasing this product, but the price tag has always held me back because I am super cheap when it comes to skincare. I do not like spending a lot of makeup, but these are so pleasant to use that I've been very close to pulling the plug and just buying them outright. So I was over the freaking moon when they showed up at Winners for half off. So I picked 2 up, and I kind of wish I'd gotten the rest of them that were there. I think there were 4 more bottles because this stuff is so nice. It's soothing, it's warming, it's just a really pleasant facial cleanser. So the next item is one that I was so excited to pick up, and then Sephora Canada took forever to get it in stock. It was out weeks later compared to the US. So I finally snapped and I just ordered it from Ulta. It's the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice Palette. This was such a surprising release for them because I feel like they keep launching those huge holiday palettes that are kind of recycled colors from previous years, and I'm kind of over it at this point. But when I saw this, I was like, where the heck did this come from? How come nobody has sneak peeked it before now? Because it really only showed up like probably on Trend Mood maybe 2 weeks before it came out. Either way, I was so excited for it because this is what I'm looking for in what I call a neutral palette. Now, I realize that the shades in here are not very neutral. Most people would look at that and say that's extremely colorful. But for me, it's one of those more natural kind of palettes but have color in it that I want to wear. So for me, this makes it a neutral palette. Now, I have already done a swatch post on this. I have done a full 5 looks and review video on this channel, so I will link to that all down below because my thoughts are pretty much summed up in that video. But I still want to say that I am so very excited by this palette still. I've had it for probably 3 weeks at this point, and I'm still reaching for it constantly. I love the color combinations in here. I love that there is like deeper jewel toned colors on this side, and then there's so many mattes that are the kind of mattes that I want to wear. This gumdrop shade, Spice, is nice. Even Looky at My Cookie, which is a really unfortunate name for an eyeshadow, but they're so beautiful in the outer corner and in the crease. Every time I put a look together with this palette, I'm so happy with it. And the whole theme of it just really makes me smile. I like that they decided to blow up the gingerbread concept that they'd started last year with the Gingerbread Man Melted Matte, and I could not be happier with this palette. I am in love with it. So in that same Ulta order, I picked up the Too Faced Melted Matte Minis in, the set's called The Sweet Smell of Christmas. Now, I was originally very concerned that these were going to be full-size melted mattes, and I was so happy to discover that they are not. They are mini sizes, and that excites me because at this point in my makeup life, I don't need another full-size lipstick for the rest of my life. So I was really glad that they decided to release minis because there's a whole variety of shades in here, and they're a really good price tag. I think it's around 35 Canadian, maybe 30 US, something like that. And the thing that excites me about this is that they all have different scents. So Too Faced has started releasing different scented melted mattes for the holidays. They had Candy Cane several years ago. I still love that color, it's beautiful. They had Gingerbread Man last year, then they brought that back this year and then made a Gingerbread Girl, which is really cute. And then this one has Pumpkin Spice, Sugar Cookie, Cinnamon Bear, and Hot Buttered Rum. And the scents are bang on what their description is. They are so good. They're delicious to apply. The colors are very nice too. They're not your like, I mean, there is a red in here. Cinnamon Bear is clearly a red, but they're not your typical holiday colors. Pumpkin Spice is probably the most flattering on me, I think. It's got that little bit of an orange twist on a nude lip. I get so much joy out of these products, and I like that they were something new. They just didn't recycle products they'd had in previous years. I mean, I know those 3 sets of palettes that they release are very generic and they come out with those every year, but between the Melted Matte mini set and the Gingerbread Spice palette, these are really unique to me and I'm super excited about them. Anyway, I've got a whole pile of content involving those 2 sets, so if you want to see those, go to the description bar down below and there will be a few links. There's 1 video and I think 2 blog posts. Okay, moving on from that Ulta order, I noticed that Maddie's brand Beyond the Nail was having a sale on some of the nail polishes that I had already intended to pick up, so I was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity. So her brand is called Beyond the Nail and I grabbed 3 polishes. The first one I wanted to grab was her, I think, yeah, Bright White, because I have run out of a white polish and I haven't had one in years, and Maddie was wearing this on vacation to Bali and I kept noticing how pretty her nail polish was. And I mean, it's just a basic bright white, but it looked so good on her. It looked good on her tan skin, so I wanted to pick up her white polish. And then she released a collection that they were called the Soft Neons, I think. And there was a part 1 that came out in the spring, and then there was another one, part 2, that came out in the summer. And the one in the summer had colors that I was interested in, so I grabbed those as well recently. The first one is called Exploding Honeydew, and I think this is beautiful. It's a neon soft green, and it's stunning. I can't wait to put this on my nails. And the other one is Shocking Coral, which I had thought would be a little bit more orange based, but it's definitely a little bit more pink in person. It's pretty, but I'm not necessarily drawn to pink nail polish. I realize that I'm wearing like a pale pink right now, but it's for my Halloween costume, so that's why it's on. I do like that this is obviously way more neon than what's on my nails, so I think it'll look pretty on, but it's not necessarily a color that I would normally gravitate towards. But she makes great polishes, so I'm happy to have picked up more from that neon pastel collection because the colors that I have right now are beautiful. I have a product here from my friend Etna. She went to a Chick Advisor showcase. I don't know a whole lot about that, but they were given a goodie bag of products and she was like, there's no way I'm gonna use this color. So she gave me the Bobbi Brown, I don't even know what this is. I think these are brand new. The Luxe Liquid Lip High Shine in Red the Nude, so it's a bright red. I have not really tried anything by Bobbi Brown generally because their colors don't excite me that much, but this looks really pretty, so I'm gonna be trying this out. So a huge thank you to Etna. She actually runs the blog called Tea and Nail Polish, which I will link to down below, for giving this to me. Okay, so for the next item, I have to discuss a little bit why I have it and why I'm going a certain route with it. So I've mentioned recently that I don't really know how to deal with this whole Kat Von D issue. I do not support her choice to not vaccinate her child. I think it's a very dangerous thing that she's doing, promoting that publicly. And fundamentally, I do not want to give my money towards somebody that is promoting this. So I was like, okay, but what do you do? Because you really enjoy her products. Now, I'm not throwing my stuff in the garbage because that is incredibly wasteful and I don't feel the need to get rid of stuff that I actually like. But I also don't necessarily want to promote her products either. So I'm kind of stuck in this really weird situation where it's like, I really like her stuff, I'm not gonna throw it out, I'm probably gonna be wearing it on camera, but I also don't want to give her my money. So I recently ran out of the liquid lipstick in the shade Lovesick, and I was kind of like, okay, what do you do? So I reached out to my friends because I was like, I don't want to go buy this at Sephora, but does anybody have this shade and doesn't want to use it anymore? I'll happily buy it from you because then the money can go to them as opposed to her because the item's already been purchased or whatever. And Julie came back and said that she had a deluxe size tube of the shade Lovesick, and I was really excited. I think she got this as a sample in her IMATS bag when we went to LA, and she was like, you can just have it. And I was really excited because this is a shade that I go back to all the time. It's a very comfortable formula, but I have to be aware that I'm sitting here saying that, but I don't want you to go buy it either. So what I would say is if it's something that you're interested in, find out from your friends if they have it, maybe pick it up from them, because at this point in time, I'm not comfortable going to Sephora and supporting her brand. So at this point, if there's anything I want by Kat Von D, I'm gonna reach out to my friends, and if they don't have it, I guess I'm just not getting it. So yeah, all of that is my take on what to do with the Kat Von D stuff. I do now have a brand new tube of the Lovesick Everlasting Liquid Lipstick formula in a mini tube, and this will probably last me a few years because the last one did as well. I wear this a lot with cool tone bright eyeshadow looks because it's a little bit purple on me, so it matches those looks as opposed to trying to wear something that's a little bit too pink. And I do really enjoy the color. Okay, moving on from that. The rest of the items are all stuff that I got in New York. The first one is a gifted item from my friend Dee, which surprised the heck out of me. So she ended up getting an extra beauty blender sponge in one of her Sephora orders, and she's like, well, do you want it? And I was like, but that's expensive. Like, eventually you will run out of your sponge. Just keep it because you'll need it at some point. She's like, I don't really need it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I will take it. Because I have always been curious about beauty blender sponges. I use the Real Techniques one all the time and I think it's fantastic, but I have always wondered if this slightly more expensive, not slightly, it's like double the price, if this very expensive sponge is just that much better than the Real Techniques one. I don't really want to fall in love with it, but I am very much curious to try it out. So this is the Sapphire one? Yeah, Sapphire, and I'm gonna give it a shot. I really hope I don't love it. Went to Ricky's in New York and didn't really buy a whole lot of things. I had expected to pick up more, but I just didn't. The only thing I got was the House of Lashes Au Naturel falsies. I used to buy these on their website all the time, but I have a lot of lashes right now and I don't really need to buy like a bulk order in order to make it worth the cost of shipping it to Canada. These are on the more subtle side of things. I tend to wear these if I'm just going out for like dinner or something as opposed to like a big night out. I used to wear them a lot on camera, but I've since opted for much bigger lashes on camera. But these are a great, very natural lash. It's just gonna like boost up what you look a little bit, but not look like over the top. The next two items are from CVS, which I visited on my very first night in New York because I was like, oh, what's new at the drugstore there? Because you guys in the US, you get your stuff a lot sooner than we do in Canada. And the Soda Pop palette by Maybelline caught my eye immediately because it's not out yet in Canada. I've barely seen the Lemonade palette anywhere, but this one definitely appeals to me a lot more. I think it is so freaking fun to look at, and I think it's very similar to the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette, which, by the way, I have just discovered is gone. It's not at Ulta anymore. It's not on their website. It's not in stores. Where did this thing go? I know it was limited edition at one point, but they did make it permanent, and now it's all gone, and I had no warning. I never got a backup, but maybe this will be close enough to it. The colors are very similar, and there's a lot more variety in here, I think. Yeah, the other one's a 9-pan palette, I think. Anyway, this one looks fun. I got it for, I think it was 14 bucks, and then I eventually did see it cheaper at another drugstore, and I was like, ah, shoot. But I'm excited to try this one out. I think it's really pretty. I want to see more like this from Maybelline. I don't want to see any more neutral palettes. They've done that for years and years and years. I want to see more of these bright pigmented colors. And the other thing I picked up at CVS is a nail polish by a brand that I have never heard of before. This is called Paparazzi, and it's their Pop FX nail polish in the shade Star Shine. This is a holographic silver glitter polish, and the sizes in the polish are a little bit different. So there's a huge hex cut glitter, and then there's some smaller ones as well. This is my preferred kind of nail polish to put on my toes. I've been wearing this kind of glitter polish on my toes for 20 years-ish, something like that. But this silver hollow micro glitter is becoming very, very difficult to find in Canada. You can't get it anymore at drugstores. I don't mean this brand specifically, I mean any kind of silver hollow glitter polish is becoming very difficult to find. I usually have to get them at like kind of accessory stores or stuff like that, or the US seems to have them way more often than Canada does. So I am not brand loyal on this. I will grab whatever polish I can get my hands on, and I just thought I'd give this one a shot because I'm getting close to the end of a few bottles that I have right now because I'm continuously painting my toenails with colors like this. So yeah, I just thought I'd give it a shot. Don't know anything about the brand, but hey, it's only going on my toes, so if the chips, I don't really care that much. So of course, when I was in New York City, I went to Ulta, and I didn't go in with a list in particular. I knew there were a few things that I wanted to check out, but I ended up buying more than I thought because hello, it's vacation, you just go crazy. The first thing I got was a perfume that I've had before and just hadn't gotten around to picking it up again, even though I love it a lot. It's the Pacifica French Lilac Micro Batch Roll-On Perfume, so it's their roller ball. And I like this because not only does it smell really good, and it reminds me of a perfume that I had when I was quite a bit younger. I think my mom got me like a huge lilac perfume when I was like, I don't know, 9 years old or something like that, and I felt very mature having that. So it smells similar to that, although I don't think it smells perhaps as kiddie as that perfume smelled. And I like this because it's great for traveling. It's glass, which is a little bit dicey, but it's miniature enough that you don't have to be worried about bringing this in your carry-on, and it's easy to pack. It's not a huge bottle, and it's something that's pretty, I mean, it smells like lilacs, but it's pretty neutral when you're traveling, so it doesn't feel overpowering or heavy or anything like that. So I have really enjoyed bringing this with me on vacation before, but I've run through the whole bottle that I had in years past, so it's just time to pick up a new one. And then, against my better judgment, I got a Stila Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow. And I say against my better judgment because I recently discovered that one of these had dried out completely on me. Even though the tube was perfectly closed, there was no issues with it, it just turned into a solid mass. And I had told myself, well, you're just not gonna buy any anymore because they're very expensive and you don't need to waste your money on something that's just going to, like, you know, turn into a solid mass that you can't use anymore. But I had been looking at this shade online for quite a while, and I think it's been sold out of Sephora Canada for as long as it's been listed on there. This is the shade Fairy Tale, and it's, honestly, it looks so boring in the tube, but it goes on as like a gunmetal silver with purple reflect to it. And it's so freaking, yeah, there's even some magenta sparkle in there. It's really different, and I thought, oh, whatever, you've been eyeballing it for probably a year now, just go ahead and get it. I hope it doesn't dry up. I have to go check my other tubes because I'm worried that they've dried up too, even though I checked them recently. Now I'm just becoming paranoid about these. But this color, man, like, how stunning is that? So it's called Fairy Tale. Yeah, I'm not sure about the longevity of these products, but they are absolutely wonderful to wear on the eyes. And every time I put one on, I'm like, you're really pretty. So yeah, get them if you plan to wear them a lot, or if you can afford it and you don't mind, you know, if it dries up after, I think maybe it's a year, maybe it takes a year to dry up. But yeah, you have to be aware that some of these may not last as long as you would want them to. So the last three items are eyeshadow palettes, which is very exciting. And the first two I'm gonna talk about are actually the Jaclyn Hill Vault palettes by Morphe. I was very curious about these, and I had looked at them at IMATS Toronto because there's a huge Morphe booth, and they were only selling them as the Vault. So you had to buy all 4 palettes together, and that really ticked me off. I was like, I don't want all 4 palettes. Just sell them to me individually. And they wouldn't do that. So I was like, fine, I'm not buying anything from you. And so I knew I was going to the US, so I would check them out at Ulta. So I kind of hemmed and hawed about these a little bit because I don't reach for my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette very often. There's a lot of same notes in that palette, and it's very large, and I don't know, I just don't reach for it. The colors are fine. I didn't have problems with application, but I haven't touched it very much. So I was like, well, maybe you shouldn't buy the smaller palettes because you haven't reached for that palette very much. But then I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because the smaller palette, it's more condensed. You can use it a little bit better. So I was like, okay, that makes sense too. And the one that I was looking at the most was definitely Ring the Alarm because it's very red, very warm tone. Honestly, it's funny, in person, there's a lot less red in here than I thought there was. There is way more orange and gold. Like, really the only red shades would be Framed down here, and that's a very, very deep, almost brown red. And then Bomb Ass over here, which is more of a pink cranberry kind of color. The rest of the shades are basically all orange. So it's not very red at all, which was my own interpretation of it. I thought that this was more of a red-based palette. But anyway, it swatched pretty good in stores. I know that doesn't say the whole story about a palette, but it was good enough that I was like, okay, I think they're only, were they 15 bucks? Something like that. I was like, well, okay, maybe just give it a shot. So I picked up Ring the Alarm, and the other one I got was Dark Magic, because I had seen Angie do an incredible eye look with this palette on her channel, and while these colors are not something that I'm necessarily drawn towards as a single palette because I don't feel like there's enough light shades in here. I mean, makes sense, it's called Dark Magic. But I hadn't really thought to get this one until I saw Angie's looks, and then I was like, okay, you've done something really special with this palette. I want to give it a shot too. So I ended up getting Dark Magic alongside with Ring the Alarm, and I haven't tried them yet, but Nemo just jumped up. But I'm eager to give them a go. I do like the more compact version of a palette. I think it makes more sense. I don't love the enormous Morphe palettes because I think 35 shadows is just way too much. And I like the size of these. I mean, there's still like, how many shadows are in here? Yeah, there's 10 shadows in here. So I think these are a great little option, and I wish Morphe would release more items like this. I don't have great opinions of the brand, to be honest, but I do like Jaclyn Hill, so I kind of want to try her stuff out. But it's funny, the idea of Morphe actually leaves me with a fairly sour taste in my mouth, but anything that Jaclyn Hill kind of puts her name on, I'm always a little bit curious about it. I know there's been a lot of terrible launches and a lot of problems that have happened with different brands, but I'm always, I don't know, I guess I'm a sucker. I keep wanting to try her stuff out. Okay, and the last item I have here is a palette by Juvia's Place, which I had completely forgotten that they were at Ulta. So when I saw this display, I was like, ah! I was very, very excited, and I decided to pick up the Zulu palette. This is so pretty, and it's been on my to-buy list for quite a while. I think you can see why. The colors in here are glorious, and I like that there's a mix of mattes and shimmers. I know I say that a lot, but there's so many palettes that get launched out there that are just like all shimmer with a token matte, or, well, actually I prefer an all matte palette with a token shimmer, but there's just too much shimmer in general is what I'm getting at. This one's kind of a mix. There's actually less shimmer, and I think it's wonderful. The shades in here are beautiful, and I've had a really good experience with Juvia's Place, the Masquerade palette, but I think that's the only one I have by the brand, and I wanted to try more out. So I grabbed this one, and there's another one I wanted. Is it called the Deuce palette? But I don't think I saw it at Ulta, and I think that was a limited edition palette. So I only got this one, but I am eager to try it out. And that's my whole haul for the month. That was a lot of talking, that was a lot of product. I did not realize how much I had bought this month, and the Sephora VIB sale is next month. So that's a lot of money spent in the last little while. I'm gonna try to curtail it. But holiday season is always nuts for makeup launches. I'm always like, yeah, give it all to me. So this is what I bought right now, and that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know if you've been picking up any of the holiday launches or if there's anything you have your eye on. I'd love to hear about that. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.